Welcome to At the Public Library, the video source for news and information about the San Francisco Public Library system. This month's show features the reopening of the Portola Branch Library, a look at the Hand Bookbinders of California exhibit at the main library with the Book Boys, the Multicultural Festival celebrations for children, and of course listings of upcoming library programs for children, teens, and adults at the public library. The November Main Library's Thursday noon video program focuses on Guiding Lights, Portraits of Spiritual Leaders and Communities. The series begins on November 2nd with The Shakers, Hands to Work, Hearts to God. The Blue Ribbon winner of the 1985 American Film Festival, The Shakers is a vividly bittersweet portrait of 200 years of a truly original way of life, which has fewer than a dozen remaining members. On November 9th, we'll be showing The Faith Keeper, Oren Lyons, with Bill Moyers. As Faith Keeper, a chief of the Turtle Clan of the Onondaga Nation, Oren Lyons keeps alive his people's history and traditional values through storytelling and art. November 16th features Heart of Tibet, an intimate portrait of the 14th Dalai Lama, shot during a visit to Los Angeles. He appears as a spiritual teacher and a leading intellectual, as a Nobel Peace Prize laureate explaining the importance of the human heart, and as a political leader speaking of the continued occupation of Tibet. The November 30th video will be Thomas Merton, a film biography. This critically acclaimed film examines Merton's life and work through insightful interviews with those who knew him. So join us for Guiding Lights, Portraits of Spiritual Leaders and Communities, a free, large-screen video showing each Thursday at noon in the main library's Lurie Room.
Friends for Life volunteers bring the riches of the San Francisco Public Library to people who can no longer visit the library themselves. Friends for Life volunteers provide a link between the San Francisco Public Library and people with AIDS or HIV disease. If you would like to be a Friends for Life volunteer, or you are in need of the services Friends for Life provides, call 557-4352 for more information.
For an extraordinary San Francisco photo exhibit, check out Portrait of a Community, Noe Valley through the eyes of Noe Valley Voice photographers. Showing now through December 24th in the main library's second floor rotunda, the exhibit highlights the best photographs published by the Noe Valley Voice over its 17-year history. Let's join Charles Kennard, Noe Valley Voice photo editor, for more about the show.
I'm Charlie Kennard. I'm photo editor of the Noe Valley Voice, which is a monthly newspaper. And I joined the Noe Valley Voice a long time ago, I think 1979. I came to Noe Valley actually from Honolulu. And the newspaper had been going about 2 years then, advertised for photographers and writers. It was a fledgling publication. It was relying on volunteer effort. And I actually wrote a Dear Sir or Madam letter to the editors, which they've never teased me about since. But I got a job as a photographer then, and I've stuck with it ever since, even though I don't actually live in Noe Valley any longer. And this exhibit was something that we developed about a year ago, when work was a bit slow for me, and I had the idea of getting together all the best photographs from the whole of the Noe Valley Voice's history. And so I contacted, I think, 11 photographers. There are generally about 3 or 4 regular ones at any time. And we went through every issue of the newspaper, choosing the best photographs, and culled it down to about 80. And so what you can see in the public library today, is a selection of about 24 or so from that original show. The photographers contributing to this show are Najib Joe Hakim, Ed Buren, Beverly Tharp, Tom Wax, and myself. The Noe Valley Voice was founded actually before I joined the newspaper by Sally Smith and some friends of hers who actually met in Finnegan's Wake, which was a bar on 24th Street that has changed its name several times. And some of the others were Bill Lehman and Deborah Phelan and some other people. And they had the idea of getting out this monthly newspaper and put it together on their typewriters and then pasted it up. And it just gathered steam since then. It was originally, for several years, was entirely volunteer effort, and they were just paying expenses. But now they pay something, so there is some incentive, but not really enough for people to, who haven't got a feeling for the community to want to do it, really. And so many of us originally lived in the neighborhood and did it for that reason. And so it's a newspaper that I think contributes a lot to the community, and I enjoy working with it. But something that's developed just this summer, which is rather fun. Some time ago, I started taking copies of the newspaper with me on vacation and photographing it in funny places. I've done one using it as a fish wrap in the London Underground. A friend of mine was doing it. I've taken it to Machu Picchu, where I had two Peruvian soldiers reading it, where you could see Machu Picchu spread out below them. And I've taken it to Oaxaca, and it's used as a spice wrap there. And just this summer, readers started sending in copies of it, sending in copies of the photographs they'd taken on vacation. And it's so touching. They think when they're packing their suitcases to go on holiday, they think of putting a copy of The Voice in with them. So actually in the September issue, we had one from Glacier Bay on a cruise boat. We had one, two soldiers sent one from Korea. And we had from Yosemite, and one being read outside the Parthenon in Athens. And this year I took it to St. Mark's in Venice and had the pigeons walking all over it in St. Mark's Square. And actually Jack ran that as a full back page for our literary issue. More Mouths to Feed is a section that began, I don't know how long ago, maybe 8 years ago. And as all the people working on the newspaper got older and realized they better have children now or never, then suddenly there was more and more interest on the editorial board in these children. And so now we have a regular feature photographing, not exactly newborns, they're generally sort of 6 months, 10 months old babies. And so now we get many letters coming in saying, photograph me and our baby. And so people enjoy that column a lot, I think. Though one person did complain to me that we should be devoting more space to performances than children. So I think the newspaper does reflect a lot the interests of the editors, as is inevitable when people aren't doing it for a financial reward. The Noe Valley Voice has had almost continuous stories about the struggle to keep the branch library open. And Ed Buren took this wonderful picture of Art Agnos, mayor of San Francisco, in '88, showing his support for the libraries. And Ed is quite a tall man. He's probably 6'6", so his height was very handy to get this picture. And Tom Wax took this photograph of Carol in Power entertaining at Children's Hour. Noe Valley has its share of celebrities. Here's Ruth Ozawa in a photograph taken by Tom Wax. Many artists seem to be drawn to Noe Valley, and recently actually I just photographed Mark Adams and his wife Beth Van Heusen, which was in the September issue, I think it was. Also Cecil Williams does or has lived in Noe Valley. Beverly Tharp photographed him, and Bobby McFerrin. And also we have the advisor to President Reagan's astrologer. I did a portrait of her for a story. And also I believe Kathy Simon, who's one of the architects of the new main library, is a Noe Valley resident, though we haven't done a story on her in connection with this project. Maud Valandry was a delightful woman I met. She lives high up on 24th Street, and she welcomed us into her home and showed us our kittens, which we appreciated admiringly. And then I took this photograph of her in a light moment. One of the social centers of Noe Valley is the Noe Valley Ministry, and a lot happens, particularly in the downstairs room there. There's a daycare center there every day run by Nina Zempel, and she's photographed actually with a bunch of children for this show. And Tom Wax took a wonderful photograph of Bob Coulter's 100th birthday party. And you can see a little boy peeping around the corner, looking more interested in the singer than the cake. Well, I think one of the obvious ones is actually a photograph by Ed Buren, which he took in 1969 in Alvarado Elementary School in the schoolyard. He's a great photographer who's very good at catching the fleeting moment, whereas I tend to, these days, do less sort of street-type photography and more of the set-up portraits. So his contribution in that way is really valuable. And there's another one, actually, which was taken by Joe Hakim of an emotional moment in St. Paul's when they were trying to save the church from being sold. And so those pictures are particularly valuable in the newspaper. There were 3 curators for this exhibit. There was myself and Beverly Tharp and Tom Wax. And we actually organized the original show of these photographs too. And those 2 and myself are really the principal photographers, and Joe Hakim and Pamela Gerard. I guess those are the main ones right now.
If you'd like to see more of Noe Valley through the eyes of Noe Valley Voice photographers, come to the main library, 2nd floor rotunda, for Portrait of a Community, showing now through December 24th.
And now, here's some news and notes of interest about the San Francisco Public Library System for November 1995. The Portola Branch Library reopened last month in its new location at 2450 San Bruno Avenue. And to celebrate their new home, the staff of the Portola Branch hosted an open house complete with cake, refreshments, and a visit by Jimbo the Clown. For over 40 years, the Portola Branch Library was located in a leased building at 2434 San Bruno Avenue. But in July of 1994, the landlord decided not to renew the lease with the library, and the Portola Branch Library had to move out and find a new home. During the interim, limited library services were made available to residents of the Portola District at a temporary site set up in the offices of Family Connections. After many months of searching and negotiations, a new location was found and a lease for the new site was secured. The skilled craftsmen of the library's building maintenance department transformed the former pharmacy and medical offices building into a branch library that contains double the floor space and provides complete disabled access. Patrons of the Portola Branch are pleased to have the branch reopened, as is the Portola Branch Library Manager, Rosalind Chang.
Well, we're excited about our new location. The library is in a former pharmacy that's on San Bruno Avenue. Our address is 2450 San Bruno Avenue, and we're right at the corner of Silliman. Our hours at the library are Tuesday from 10 to 6, Wednesday from 12 to 8, Thursday from 1 to 7, Friday from 1 to 6, Saturday from 1 to 6. We're closed Sunday and Monday. Well, we have a wonderful children's area, and on the other side we have a great adult section, so we hope that you'll come on down and visit us sometime.
Thanks to last year's passage of Proposition E, the Portola Branch Library was upgraded from a reading center to a full branch library, which means patrons of the Portola Branch can enjoy the benefits of a professional librarian and expanded service hours. Also last month, the Bayview Anna E. Wadden Branch Library presented the 6th annual Bayview Poetry Recital, hosted by Larry Ware. This year's recital featured over 10 local poets, including Rudolph Valentino Breland, Wilma White, and newcomer Jessie Whiley.
My first poem is titled In a Boat with Frederick. I say to you, my dear friend, that we are two different people, thinking unique thoughts, molding ourselves into unfamiliar faces, seldom opening up our hearts to let out what we feel. We tend to suppress our minds. We demand respect and command what we expect. We are unique, though, and we are both in the same boat. Separate pieces of a mind-numbing puzzle, never being put together. Walking, laughing, joy to the max, setting back and listening to the different waves and the uniqueness of the combinations. Letting the beauty cascade around in our thoughts for a moment, maybe two. Yes, we are different, but we are both in the same boat.
And finally, this reminder. All of San Francisco's public libraries will be closed on Friday, November 10th, in honor of the Veterans Day holiday. The library will also be closed on Thursday, November 23rd, for Thanksgiving, and the Friday after Thanksgiving, November 24th.
Stay tuned now for the children's calendar of programs and events for the month of November. Beginning with the Ortega Branch Library, which has a family night story time every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. A family night crafts program on November 1st, the 15th, and the 29th, all at 7:20 p.m. Preschool crafts for ages 2 to 5 on November 14th and the 28th at 11 a.m. And a preschool story time on Tuesdays at 10:30 a.m. That's all at the Ortega Branch Library, located at 3223 Ortega Street at 39th. The main library has a preschool film program on November 15th at 10 and 10:45 a.m. and again at 2 in the afternoon. Also on the 15th at 4 p.m. an after-school film program for ages 6 and up. And on November 16th, preschool films at 10 and 10:45 a.m. That's all in the main library's children's room, in the Civic Center, on the corner of Larkin and McAllister Streets. The West Portola Branch has many preschoolers' activities, starting on Wednesday evenings with preschool story time at 7 p.m. On November 7th and the 21st and the 28th at 10:30 a.m., a preschool story time. More preschool films on November 14th at 10:30 a.m. and November 18th at 11 a.m. That's all at the West Portola Branch, located at 190 Lenox Way at Ulloa. The North Beach Branch has preschool story times on November 2nd, 9th, and 30th at 10:45 a.m. for ages 3 to 5. Preschool film programs on November 16th, beginning at 10 a.m., with showings at 10:30 and 11 a.m. and 2:15 and 3 p.m. Later on November 16th, after-school films for ages 6 and up at 3:45 p.m. That's all at the North Beach Branch Library, located at 2000 Mason Street at Columbus. The Potrero Branch Library has a preschool story time program for ages 2 to 5 on November 2nd, 9th, 16th, and 30th, all at 4 p.m. And Tuesdays in November at 7 p.m., an elementary school-age chapter book read-aloud program, with children continuing to read The Trumpet of the Swan by E.B. White. On November 11th at 12, holiday crafts program for ages 7 and up. That's all at the Potrero Branch Library, located at 1616 20th Street, near Connecticut. The Visitation Valley Branch has story times for ages 5 and older every Saturday at noon. And for preschool activities at 10 and 10:45 a.m., come on November 7th for story time, November 15th for videos, and November 22nd for crafts programs. Also on November 28th, an after-school craft program for ages 5 and up at 3:30 p.m. That's all at the Visitation Valley Branch Library, located at 45 Leland Avenue at Bayshore. The Bayview Onaiwaden Branch has preschool programs on Mondays and Tuesdays at 10:15 and 10:45 a.m., preschool story times on Mondays, and preschool films on Tuesday. On November 22nd, after-school films for ages 6 to 9 at 4 p.m. And November 29th, crafts program for ages 6 to 9, also at 4 p.m. All at the Bayview Onaiwaden Branch Library at 5075 3rd Street at Revere. The Ingleside Branch has lots of programs in November, beginning with a preschool story time for ages 3 to 5 on November 7th and the 14th, both at 10 a.m. On November 15th at 3:30 p.m., an after-school video program for ages 7 and over. On November 16th, Thanksgiving crafts for all ages at 3:30 p.m. And on the 21st and 28th at 10 a.m., a preschool film program. That's all at the Ingleside Branch at 387 Ashton Avenue near Ocean. The Mission Branch Library has a preschool film program for ages 3 to 5 on November 7th at 10 and 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. A family film night on November 8th and the 22nd at 7 p.m. And on November 22nd at 5 p.m., a Thanksgiving crafts program, all at the Mission Branch Library located at 3359 24th Street near Mission. The Sunset Branch Library has preschool story times on November 7th, 14th, and 28th at 10:30 a.m. Tuesday evenings at the Sunset Branch have family program for all ages at 7 p.m. On November 15th at 7 p.m., videos for ages 6 and over. And on November 21st, a preschool film program for ages 3 to 5 at 10:30 and 11:15 a.m. and 1:30 p.m., all at the Sunset Branch Library, located at 1305 18th Avenue at Irving. The Ocean View Branch has an after-school film program for children of all ages on November 9th at 3:30 p.m. That's the Ocean View Branch, located at 111 Broad Street near Plymouth. The Marina Branch Library has a preschool video program for children ages 3 to 5 on November 14th at 10:30 a.m. The Marina Branch is located at 1890 Chestnut Street near Webster. The Richmond Branch Library has preschool story times on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. On November 21st at 10:15 and 11 a.m. and November 22nd at 7 p.m., preschool film programs for ages 3 to 5. That's all at the Richmond Branch Library, located at 351 9th Avenue near Clement. Singer-songwriter Ruth Pelham is on tour from the East Coast with her show Under One Sky. She'll be making stops at the Sunset Branch on November 1st at 3:30 p.m., the West Portal Branch on November 7th at 4 p.m., the Main Library on November 8th at 10:30 a.m., and the Richmond Branch on November 8th at 3:30 p.m., with sing-along concerts for children of all ages. Throughout the month of November, the San Francisco Public Library is hosting the annual Multicultural Arts Festival for children, thanks to the generous help of the Friends of the San Francisco Public Library. The festival begins on November 1st at the Ortega Branch Library with Clara Yen, who performs Chinese folk and fairy tales at 7 p.m. She will also be at the Merced Branch on Saturday the 4th at 11 a.m. and the Eureka Valley Branch on November 29th at 3:30 p.m. The festival continues with Marijo performing African American, Caribbean, and world folk tales at the Bayview Waden Branch on November 8th at 4 p.m., the Marina Branch on November 14th at 3:30 p.m., the North Beach Branch on November 15th at 3:45 p.m., at Golden Gate Valley on November 16th at 2:30 p.m. and the Ocean View Branch on November 18th at 2 p.m. The Poor Puppet Theater Company brings Greek shadow puppetry for all ages to the main library children's department on Saturday, November 18th at 3:30 p.m. Grupo Folclórico de San Francisco, traditional folk dances of Mexico for all ages, performs at the Presidio Branch on November 8th at 7 p.m. The Sunset Branch, November 11th at 2 p.m. The Portola Branch, November 11th at 3:30 p.m. Glen Park Branch, November 15th at 7 p.m. and at the Richmond Branch on November 18th at 3:30 p.m. Mara brings multicultural folk tales with music for all ages to the Visitation Valley Branch on November 9th at 10 a.m. and the Anza Branch on November 9th at 3 p.m. La Sana Bandela brings folk songs and poetry from Jamaica for ages 6 and older to the Western Addition Branch on November 29th at 3:30 p.m. and the Potrero Branch on November 14th at 1 p.m. The Carnival of Wonders Puppet Theater performs Punch and Judy for ages 6 and older at the Excelsior Branch on November 14th at 10:30 a.m., the Mission Branch on the 15th at 6 p.m., the Bernal Branch on November 15th at 7:30 p.m., and Chinatown Branch on the 16th at 10:30 a.m. Then they'll be at the West Portal Branch on November 30th at 4 p.m. Sherry DeBrott with tales from around the world for ages 3 to 5, coming to the Ingleside Branch on Tuesday, November 14th at 10 a.m. That's the Multicultural Arts Festival for children at the San Francisco Public Library during the month of November.
Hi, my name is Dolores Rivera, and I go to Benjamin Franklin Middle School. I just read this real terrific book, and it's called The People Shall Continue, written by Simone Ortiz, illustrated by Cheryl Graves. Many, many years ago, Indians lived, and all things came to be. The stars, the rocks, the plants, the rivers, the animals, the mountains, the sun, the moon, the birds, all things, and even people too. Some say they came from a hollow log, and some say from the ocean. Wherever they are coming from, I suggest you find out. Remember, it's called The People Shall Continue, written by Simone Ortiz, illustrated by Cheryl Graves. Thank you.
Stay tuned for the Fall Teen Calendar with Natalie.
The Middle School Outreach Program is doing 6 other activities this fall for young people between the ages of 11 and 14. If you've ever wanted to sharpen your school skills or get those grades higher, then come to one of our homework and study skill programs. Homework programs are Wednesday, November 2nd at 3:30 p.m. at the Marina Library, 1890 Chestnut Street, and Friday, December 1st at 3:30 p.m. at the Parkside Library, 1200 Taravel Street, 1616 20th Street. Wednesday, November 8th at 3:30 p.m., North Beach Library, 2000 Mason Street. Wednesday, November 15th at 3:30 p.m., Park Library at 1833 Page Street. And Wednesday, November 29th at 3:30 p.m., West Portal Library, 190 Lenox Way.
It's crazy as bow. Books, check them out. Books, check them out. At your library.
You're watching At the Public Library on City Watch, Cable Channel 54. At the Public Library airs Tuesdays at 3 p.m., Fridays at 8 p.m., and Saturdays at 2 p.m.
The Hand Bookbinders of California 23rd Annual Members Exhibition is on display now through the end of November at the main library in the South Hall of the 3rd floor. With over 30 books on display, the show features the work of fine binders, edition binders, conservators, and book artists. Stay tuned now for a look at a sampling of the exhibition as Bay Area bookbinders Dominic Riley and John Demerritt host a review of the exhibit and talk with a few of the bookbinders whose work is on display.
Hello, it's Book Talk with John and Dominic.
Hello.
Hello, John.
Hi, Dominic.
Today is the first anniversary of our show. We've been running for a whole year now, and to celebrate this momentous day...
What is this, our sixth show?
I think it is. I have a little gift to give to John, and I hope that I don't embarrass him. You've got something for me? Yeah. Okay, can I give you my gift first?
Okay.
No, you give me yours.
All right. Dominic, I want to give you something very, very dear to me.
Yeah.
And my father gave it to me, and his grandfather gave it to him.
Yes?
Yes, it's my most cherished possession. It's my Girl Scout knife.
Oh, let me see.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I want you to have it always.
I don't know whether the camera can see this, but it actually says GS, which I think stands for Girl Scout.
Girl Scouts of America.
It's a beautiful thing, little blades. It's gorgeous. Anyway, I have something for you.
And I hope you cherish it always.
I will, yeah. This is a spine flexor that I got in Alabama recently, and it's a bookbinding tool, and I hope you can find many uses for it.
What are you supposed to do with this?
Well, you put it in your mouth.
Yeah.
And then you just squeeze it. There you go. Yeah. Many years to come, I hope. Yeah. Much use. Anyway, John, tell us about what we're going to do today.
Thank you.
Get off. What are we going to do today, John, please?
Well, let me put this away. Today, we're going to talk about, like we did last year, we're going to talk about the Hand Bookbinders of California.
Oh, yes.
Members exhibit, the 23rd or 24th. It depends whatever we wrote on the poster.
I think it's the 23rd this year.
Yeah, and it's up at the San Francisco Public Library in the south wing as you go towards special collections, running through the end of November. Come on down and see it, and then it will, if you happen to be traveling to the Los Angeles area, it will be at the Hunold Library.
God forbid.
Claremont Colleges, February, through the beginning of February through the end of January. And we have a special surprise today. We've invited some of the binders.
Yes, indeed. We're going to be looking at some of the books, but also we're going to be talking to the people who bound them. And we're very excited about this. They've flown from all over the world to be with us. Our first guest,
internationally famous bookbinder,
is our friend from Philadelphia, internationally renowned bookbinder.
Yeah.
And her name is Margaret Johnson, and we're going to be looking at her book.
She is also the secretary of Hand Bookbinders of California.
Oh, yes.
And the newsletter editor of the august organization, the Guild of Bookworkers.
She's a busy lady, but she's made time in her busy schedule to be with us today, and here she is. And here's her lovely book.
It's a book called Egypt, and the interesting thing about this book is it's the first book in the Hand Bookbinder show that is an example of a restoration, meaning that it's not a new book. It's a book that Margaret has a client brought to her, and she's fixed it. And here she is.
Hello,
Hi, Margaret.
Hello.
So you didn't do all this lovely gold stuff here?
No, I didn't do that.
What did you do?
What have you done to this book?
When I got the book, the cover was off. The front cover was totally off. The back cover was loose.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, we have a photo actually here of what it looked like before, which I think we can get a nice close-up of. This photo shows us that this cover's come off.
Yeah, that's the front cover.
The spine is all broken.
And some of the paper in here was missing.
It looks like you've repaired some of the paper here.
Right.
Replaced the joint.
Yeah.
And the whole spine has been replaced.
Oh, okay.
With leather. The original
Excuse me,
spine.
can I interrupt you for a minute?
Yeah.
Would you like a drink?
Oh, yeah, would you like a sherry?
Absolutely.
Anytime.
Okay, I'll get Johnson, our butler, to bring us some sherry.
Yeah, Johnson!
He's very old, but we keep him on because we love him.
Right, continue,
so
please.
It has a new piece of leather, what, going all the way around here?
Yes,
Yeah.
starting about in here and all the way around here, and the original label of spine was taken off and replaced.
Careful, careful.
Thank you.
Okay, I do some bookbinding, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Johnson.
Thanks,
We'll see you later. Okay, Margaret, would you like a sherry?
Yes, thank you.
Cheers. John?
Thank you.
Well, cheers. Here's to a good show. It's nice to have you. Oh, it's not bad. So, and what else?
And the corners.
Oh, the corners.
And
Okay.
you've redone the corners,
were all chewed up.
So-
And you've
there's new
consolidated
leather.
the boards of the corners, too.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing that I always think is sad about restoration is that if you do a good job, you can't tell that it's been worked on.
Yeah.
So it's hard for us to show this and show precisely what it is that you've...
You can see it if you're up close enough, because I don't think that you should
make it look like brand new if it's an old book.
You mean
Have you done any work to the text block itself?
Only some of the corners that had been bent here.
Okay. Oh, yeah,
And
that's
I put
nice.
Japanese tissue on them because they're quite brittle.
You can't really see this, but here on the corner, Margaret has covered this with a piece of very fine Japanese tissue, which has reinforced what used to be a very limp and broken corner, which is a really good thing to do.
They're wonderful photographs, and this book is from the 1870s.
Early photographs of Egypt.
Beautiful.
Really quite gorgeous. Here's a pyramid of the Sphinx.
Made, apparently, the whole thing was made for British travelers who went to Egypt, and they brought home this
And if you could feel how heavy
photograph.
this book is, it's incredibly heavy. It's printed on coated stock.
And you have you've polished this, then, have you, and cleaned it afterwards?
Yes.
So you
yes. So it's much brighter than it was before.
Right.
And then you've made a lovely box for it too, I understand.
Oh yeah.
I made a box for it.
Now, why have you made a box for this book?
Well, I think that anything as old as this needs a little extra protection.
Okay.
So we will protect it as much as possible.
Oh, good. I'll put it in like this.
Like that.
Good. And then it closes.
And then it closes, and you stand it up on the shelf.
And there you are.
And there you are.
Great.
Well, thanks very much,
Thank you, Margaret.
And we'll
Thank
see you
you.
next year. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Here's the mascot of our show this year. What's he called, John?
He's called Binder Man.
And here's the man responsible for Binder Man. It's our old friend, Carrel Roumain.
Hi, Carrel.
Hi, Carrel.
Hi, John. Hi, Dominic.
From Oakland, right?
Right.
A werecat binder.
That's the place.
What's a werecat?
Werecat is like a werewolf, except the werecat transforms at will, not at the full moon.
Huh.
Well, enough of that.
Kind of like Binder Man, huh?
Kinda.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at this extraordinary thing. This is a most amazing box,
Yeah,
and inside the box, Carrel, you're going to show us what you've put in there.
Okay. This whole construction is actually an answer to a question. I made almost 50 of these, not with all the ornamentation, for sale at a local bookstore. And people would say, well, what do we do with these things? And
this was your answer, huh?
More or less.
And what else do you, and there's another book in there,
And
too,
this is the companion journal, which is still in progress. I haven't written anything in it, actually.
Yeah. I'll just put this great box.
Carrel, you want a drink?
Sure.
Oh, do you like sherry? Johnson?
We might have to move this so Johnson can...
So what do you do with this? That would be my question.
This is just a collection of recycled thoughts and ideas by...
Put it here, Johnson.
So you can just put your own scrap material in here?
Whatever you want.
So you sell them blank, do you?
Yes.
That's great.
And there's stubs, so you can build them up with whatever you want.
Careful, careful, careful. There we are, Carrel.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Would you like to see my book?
No, thank you, Johnson. Just
Don't you have something else to do, Johnson?
Very good.
Thank you.
He's got pretensions, you know. Cheers. It's nice to see you. So this also...
And this book is this wonderful cloth.
Tell us about this cloth. This is amazing. Look at this.
Let's see. I think this cloth is actually from Senegal. And then these are various veneers from
Show it to the...
Oh, it has a wood
Japan.
veneer on there.
Yes. This is a dyed kiri. This is a natural kiri veneer. That's a sugi veneer.
Now, how do you get these from Senegal? Can you buy them in America?
They're imported. Yeah, you can get them at various fabric stores.
And you've used this wonderful colored paper here for the text block that has a sort of a rainbow effect on the forehead.
Yeah, let's see that.
Okay, let's see. I think this was actually some damaged paper from a local paper distributor. I went in and it was like $1 for a ream, so I walked away with it.
So there it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Well, good. And I particularly like the fact that on this book here, there are all these great things you can play with, like here's a little compass in case you get lost.
Here's a spring, so if you drop it on the floor, it bounces
There you
back
go.
up.
All found objects.
These are all found?
Yeah.
God.
Just on my walks.
That's great. A pair of handcuffs here.
A
What's
little
this?
whippet.
That's actually RoboCop's leg.
Oh, yeah.
How about that?
Oh, do you know I know the man who designed RoboCop?
No.
Yeah. Great man. Phil Tippett in Berkeley. And maybe I could get a few knockoff parts from the original for you. I'm sure he'd be willing. There it is. Well, thanks very much for coming.
You're quite welcome.
And,
Thank you, Carrel.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next year.
All right.
Okay, thanks. And now let's move on.
Our next book is by a local binder, Judy Houghteling, who's done a very nice... It's another travel book, actually. And this really looks like a book. You can see that it has a nice quarter-bound effect there, title on the spine. But it's really, when you put it down, you can see that it's a box. And here's Judy right now. Hi, Judy.
Hi, John. Hi, Dominic.
Hi, Judy. Nice to have you here.
Judy, you've done this wonderful box with this wonderful paper, which we'll talk about in a minute. And inside this book, it's another travel book, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And why don't we open it up and take a look?
Isn't it also a travel book from Africa? No?
No, this is
Close?
from
From the
the
Middle
Holy
East?
Land.
Yeah.
And
okay.
it's actually my grandfather's,
Your grandfather's letters.
letters of travel. And I tried to do a facsimile version. Which
This is part of an edition, isn't it?
Yes, it's an edition of 13.
So it's a facsimile. It looks exactly like
Yes, it's
the original.
It's Xeroxes actually of the typescript, and then I bound it in the same way that my grandfather had with handmade paper.
Yeah, with these two, and sort of a stab binding there.
Yes.
Did he also have a nice ribbon like
this? Yes, he did have a ribbon, and this is an
Yeah.
old ribbon. The letters date from 1911, so I've tried to make it kind of authentic. But when I finished it, I realized it was very fragile and it wouldn't stand up, so I then made this box.
So you've made this beautiful, lovely box.
And the box is lined with ultra suede.
Judy, how about a drink?
Oh, wonderful.
Do you like sherry?
Yes,
That's
I
all
love
we have.
sherry.
Yeah.
This is-
Now you've got this wonderful, and what I really like about this piece is all the colors really come together beautifully.
Oh, thank you.
And the ultra suede here.
It makes a
which
nice
is
nest.
You've also made an... Oh, here he is. Oh,
Johnson, be careful.
He's not very good at his hands.
Pardon, I took the liberty of bringing my book.
I'm sorry?
I brought my book.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's very nice.
We have something else to look at.
We're very busy right now.
Judy, here's your sherry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dominic.
Thank you, Johnson.
Thank you.
Well, cheers, and welcome to welcome to the
you.
show.
Thank
I would say
Cheers, Judy.
to our show and your show.
Right. And what we were saying about the ultra suede is that you've done this wonderful little
Well, yes, that's...
trough here that you've cut out, and I'm assuming that's where the ribbon goes.
That's right. And the ultra suede makes a nice little nest for the book.
Yeah.
And then I've covered it with this paste paper,
Wonderful
which I
paste
made
paper.
myself.
How did you? It looks like a sort of this. How did you get this pattern effect here?
Well, I actually painted bubble wrap and used that. Stamped it.
So
that's a really innovative way of making a paste paper.
Thank you.
So you take a plain piece of paper and you brush paint onto it. Do you?
No, I brushed the paint onto the bubble wrap and then put that onto the paper.
It's wonderful.
Yeah,
so should we
it's
see
beautiful.
how the book goes in?
Oh, yes.
I want to see how this thing works too.
Hope it does.
Lovely. So this ultra suede is like what? It's not really suede.
So you
No,
can
it's a
see
man-made suede.
Right,
Okay.
and this will close over that.
Right over there,
Gorgeous.
like so.
That's lovely. Thanks
Beautiful.
very much for coming, Judy.
Thanks, Judy.
See you next year. John, did I ever tell you about that time that I bound a book in water buffalo hide?
Oh, no.
Don't you have a book?
Oh, I think I got something somewhere here. It's a lovely little book. It's called Arrow Food. See?
Oh, arrow food.
Covered it in sand.
Where is that
It's
man?
got, Johnson, more drinks.
Oh, a double six.
Oh, it's got some text. Comes in a nice little box. Made it all myself. I'll just put that
What's
away.
happening to him? Oh,
Is he?
I win.
Huh? Dominic,
goes in
don't you
there.
have a book somewhere?
What? This is my book.
Oh, that book don't look like a book. About time.
I had to go out for another bottle, sir.
Oh dear.
No.
You just can't get the staff these days, can you? Thank
Buy
you
a
very much.
case next time, please.
Yes.
I would really like to show you my book.
Oh, thank you very much, Johnson. Now,
thank
go
you.
away and
It's very nice. Now go away.
we'll talk to you later.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, anyway, it's time to move on with the show. Who have we got to see now? John, be careful.
I'm sorry. I think that's just spilled on.
Yeah, that's all right, doesn't matter.
It was just Johnson's anyway.
I think things are descending into the usual chaos here, and we're going to talk now to our very good friend. Who is it? Oh, it's our friend Joanne. No, it's not. It's
No,
our
it's
friend
not,
Molly. Is it Molly? Yes, Molly West.
Molly West.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Molly.
It's
Here she is now.
hello, Molly.
Molly.
Welcome
Hi,
to the
Molly.
show.
Thank you.
And thanks for bringing your lovely book.
Yeah, can you show your book to us, please?
Yeah.
Sure. This is
What's this beautiful material that's covering it?
It's velvet.
Velvet.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Now, this
I wish
is
you could feel this.
This is a photo album
That's right.
that you have made in your shop in Emeryville.
That's correct.
And you mass produce these, I understand.
We
Well,
do.
I wouldn't say mass produce.
Well, yeah, small scale mass.
You're in production in these
right.
things, right?
Right.
Molly, could I get you a drink? Would you like a sherry?
Sure, I'd love one.
Let me.
That would be great.
Tell us about how this book has been made, first of all.
Sure. Well, this is just a combination of different materials. We didn't actually make these materials, but it's Japanese paper on the inside. Oh, great.
Here it is. Yeah. Molly, I believe this
Great.
is yours.
Thank you.
John?
Thank you very much.
I'll have a refill, please.
Me too.
And Thank you so much.
Careful there.
Perhaps the young lady would care to see my book.
That'd be great. I'd love that.
Thank you anyway, Johnson. He's been trying to show us his book all day. So, Japanese paper on the inside.
And the...
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
This is cloth here, then? This is a cloth joint?
Yeah. That's correct. And then we have acid-free cover stock for the pages. It's intended to be a photo album or scrapbook. It's all archival.
Now, Molly, something I think that's interesting that you do with your cloths is you basically have your own book cloth. You have your book cloth backed.
Great, thank you.
You send it to someone who will back it with paper. So these aren't traditional bookbinding cloths that you buy.
Right, these are our own.
So you've been really innovative and you've found regular cloth and you've transformed it so that it can be used for books.
That's what I think is really nice about this book is the materials are really exquisite.
This is what's this for? Ribbon?
Well, it's a French wire ribbon that we just used for tying the binding. It's
this holds the
and
book
the wire
together.
is what lets the
Right,
you
holds
can
that
sculpt
shape.
it. Look,
that's correct.
I didn't know that.
But this is really just that's sort of like a stab binding.
That's right. That's right.
It's the most
very simple sewing structure.
Beautiful thing. And this also, I understand, is self-adhesive too.
Yes. We should also mention at this point that Molly is our exhibition's chair this year, who is responsible for this whole exhibit.
That's how you got the book in
Come
the
down
show.
and see it. It's a great show.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks
so
very
let
much.
us put our books in.
Yeah.
Thank you, Molly, and we'll
choice.
see you. We'll see you on Thursday night.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Molly.
And we do have to move on, and it's our last guest, unfortunately, and it is
Joanne Sonnichsen.
Welcome to Joanne.
And here's Joanne's book. It's a lovely black on black on black.
Before you're going.
With a little slate thrown in there. It's The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, printed by the Chalandity Press. And here's Joanne.
Hi, Joanne.
Hi, Joanne.
Now, Joanne,
you have a wonderful announcement to make.
You've hot-footed it over here from the private meeting of the top meeting.
Oh, a very public meeting.
Oh,
public.
Oh,
why weren't we invited?
Surprised me.
You were.
Oh, we were here making our show. Of the Book Club of California.
That's
and
right.
is it true that you've just been elected their new president?
Yes, that's true.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure you're the best man for the job. Now, would you like a drink to celebrate?
I'd love one.
Absolutely.
Johnson will bring our sherry, I'm sure. Now, why don't you tell us about your book?
Tell us a bit about your book while we wait.
I think most people are aware of the poem, which is a little bit depressing.
Somber, I'd say.
Somber is
not very
a good
uplifting.
word for it.
Yeah.
And one of the more difficult parts...
excuse me, Joanne.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, this is mine.
May I appeal to you, madam, as a woman of taste, to take a look at my book?
Johnson,
please. Joanne, I'm sorry. I have to.
Just a minute. Yeah.
No, I really think.
But he looks familiar.
It's purely a coincidence. He's an old retainer of ours.
I don't think you've ever seen him before.
No. Please continue.
So much. Well, at any rate, one of the more difficult aspects of the design of this book was to keep away from using color, because The Raven is, after all, a very depressing poem. And the book, as you can see, has the impression of having a stamp on it. It is not a stamp. There are 3 different leathers on it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. There's one in the center here, which sits on this one, and then the leather that is the covering leather.
It's boxcalf, Cape Morocco, and Chagrin,
And
which
this
is
leather's
French.
extremely smooth.
Yeah.
I also noticed you have
Now, what
a
have you done to this leather to make it so smooth?
This one, once the book was covered, I sanded the entire surface, outside surface, and then waxed it with a colored wax that I got from the Bibliothèque Nationale. And that
now, the only
gives-
color here is the edge.
You have gold here. Now, you gilded this yourself, didn't
Yes.
you? This gold edge. You didn't send it to France.
No.
A lot of people do that, though.
I don't.
Oh, well, good for you.
Good for you.
Thanks for bringing it, Joanne. Thank
My
you for showing
pleasure.
it, and congratulations on your new presidency.
Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Joanne.
John?
Yeah?
We've come to the end of our show.
Oh, our anniversary show.
Our anniversary show, 1 year, happy marriage. So why
Hope
don't
to
we
see you
say...
many more years.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming down here to see us today, and please come see our show.
Yeah, it's up through the end of November at the San Francisco Public Library, South Wing, 3rd floor, and at the Honold Library from December through January in Claremont, if you're down in the LA area.
Yeah.
So please come down and see the show.
Bottoms up.
Yeah. Or bottoms down.
Yeah.
Oh, perhaps I could show you my book, which is bound with full Morocco onlays and, oh dear.
Library patrons at several of the branches are meeting to discuss favorite works of literature. Titles change regularly. Here's the schedule for the month of November. On Wednesday, November 1st at 7 p.m., the Sunset Branch group will discuss The English Patient by Michael Ondaatje. This Booker Prize-winning novel traces the intersection of 4 damaged lives in an abandoned Italian villa at the end of World War II. Also on November 1st, the Western Edition group meets at 7:30 p.m. to read Tell Me a Riddle, a wonderful 1961 collection of short stories by Bay Area author Tilly Olson. The Noe Valley Sally Brunn branch meets on Wednesday, November 29th at 7:30 p.m. to read In the Time of Butterflies, the second novel by the award-winning author of How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents, Julia Alvarez. The Optimist's Daughter by Eudora Welty is the subject of the Bernal Heights discussion group on Thursday, November 30th at 4 p.m. This is Welty's writing at its best, the story of the great interrelated family of those who never know the meaning of what happened to them. Also on the literary front, an evening with San Francisco author Tilly Olson, who will read from her work and talk with her audience about writing, living, and caring. On Wednesday, November 29th at 7 p.m. at the Western Edition Branch Library. On Wednesday, November 8th at 7:30 p.m., the Noe Valley Sally Brunn branch welcomes San Francisco native Ruth Ann Lum McCunn, author of Thousand Pieces of Gold, for a reading and book signing from her new novel, Wooden Fish Songs. On Saturday, November 25th from 2 to 4 p.m., the San Francisco Bibliophiles Club, a Russian book discussion group, will conduct book discussions in the Russian language. For topics to be discussed or for more information, please call the main library's Special Collections at 557-4560. And stay tuned for more information on your library's book discussion groups. The Sunset Branch is also offering adult programming this month. On Monday, November 6th at 7 p.m., the Sunset Branch Library presents Harps Through the Ages, a festival of harps. Professional harpist and composer Diana Stork will perform on African, Celtic, medieval, and Latin harps. A presentation on harp histories and traditions will close out the program. Also at the Sunset Branch on November 13th at 7 p.m. is San Rafael writer Malcolm E. Barker, author of Bummer and Lazarus, San Francisco's Famous Dogs, and of San Francisco Memoirs, 1835 to 1851, Eyewitness Accounts of the Birth of a City. Barker presents a lecture and slideshow highlighting the little-known aspects of San Francisco's history. A book signing will follow the lecture. The Noe Valley Sally Brunn Memorial Branch Library film series continues this month with the silent romantic adventure Son of the Sheik, starring Rudolph Valentino. Valentino plays a desert sheik who believes he's been betrayed by a dancing girl. He soon finds out she's innocent and sets himself to the task of bringing justice to the band of desert renegades who exploited her. This 16mm screening of the 1926 silent classic, The Son of the Sheik, will begin at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, November 15th at the Noe Valley Sally Brunn Memorial Branch Library, located at 451 Jersey Street. Want to learn how to read? Want to help someone else learn to read? Contact Project Read of the San Francisco Public Library at 557-4388. Project Read is an adult literacy program that provides volunteer one-to-one tutoring for adult learners. Project Read's support of tutors and students includes tutor orientation and training, continuing education workshops for tutors and students, reading diagnostics for students, family programs, and referrals to classroom instruction at community college centers and to other agencies in the community. There are many ways you can help adults achieve their personal reading goals. Call Project Read to find out how. Learn to read or be a reading tutor. Phone 557-4388. City Guides are volunteers who enjoy the city and its stories. Let them share their knowledge and enthusiasm with you on free walking tours of various San Francisco locations. Call 557-4266 for more information on free public tours of San Francisco.
You too can be a friend of the San Francisco Public Library. Join us. For more information, phone the Friends of the San Francisco Public Library at 557-4257.
We'd like to hear what you think of At the Public Library. Please send your comments to San Francisco Public Library, Media Production Services, Civic Center, San Francisco, California, 94102.
You've been watching At the Public Library, here on cable channel 54, City Watch. At the Public Library features news and information about the San Francisco Public Library system. And for a printed copy of some of the information in this program, pick up a copy of At the Public Library at your branch or at the main library. Tune in next time for more At the Public Library, and thanks for watching.